Hello everyone, how are we doing? There we go, we should be live and perfect. Hello Starfleet boy, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. It's been a while since I've streamed. Like, TextRex has disappeared for a minute for some reason. But it's been a while since I've streamed, so like everything's working. I've pressed the right buttons. How does Dom do it? No. It's quite nice to be back, actually. So yeah, there we go. We've got Archer's theme playing in the background. We're off to a good start. Hello, chat. I hope you're all doing well. Hopefully we'll get Father back in a second.
Yeah, it looks like he's been taken over by a pirate or something.
We've lost him. Uh-oh. Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? Welcome to Trek Central Live for Strange New Worlds, Episode 7. Can you believe we're 7 episodes into the series already, right? And what a series so far. Have you all seen the promo for next week? We'll discuss it at the end of this thing. But next week's promo looks hilarious.
It does. It looks really awesome. And I saw you guys put up some images showing the connection between some of the things we've seen already and what's coming. So it's pretty cool.
Indeed. Both TJ and Dom have been working quite a lot on that right now. For those wondering, you can read the article on TrekCentral.net, but be warned, it does contain spoilers for the next episode. So yeah, be on the look at that one because it's a bit of an interesting one. But I'm liking the article though; it came out really well. I'm looking forward to the episode. Like usually, I find the goofy episodes a bit weird, but we'll discuss more about it towards the end of the stream when we start talking about episode 8. I don't think we have the episode name yet, unless anyone in the chat wants to tell me. Team members, please. Well, you guys should know it, actually. One of you knows it. I don't know if you can say it. I think it's public.
I don't know. I think Father knows the episode.
I do, but can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, now we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Because I lost everything on my screen. But yeah, it's the Elysian Kingdom, I believe, is the name of the episode.
Okay.
And the Paramount snipers are currently taking up position outside his house.
Oh,
Too late. It's the redacted NDA 101 episode. You can look forward to that next week. There we go.
That's funny.
Well, everyone, thank you for joining us. We've, of course, got Starfleet Boy back once again and Mr. Textrek, aka Father. Gentlemen, how are you doing? I've left you with Dom for the last couple of weeks. I take it you've all survived well.
Yeah, he was really mean to us, but
was he? Oh dear.
But otherwise, we're really glad you're
really
back.
mean. He had us micro clean the transporter pad.
Man,
it was not a fun time.
So what we realised is Dom is Eucalypt Chief Kyle, essentially. I mean, yeah, there's many jokes I could make, but I feel I'd get myself in a lot of trouble if I made any whatsoever. All I'm saying is, I think Chief Carr would also look good in a pair of Andorian sort of like antennae. And Dom, I'm holding that picture to ransom. One day that'll be released on the internet. It's still on my phone somewhere. So if anybody's wondering at the story behind that, because some people might appreciate that, it was at DST 2019 in Birmingham. That was mental. I put the volume up. There we go. It was DST 2019, and they were handing out these antler ears for antennae ears for Andorians, and I think I made Dom wear a pair, and he was in his like yellow Picard Star Trek uniform at that point, I think it was, and I've got a most embarrassing picture of him wearing that, along with also a picture of him and a bottle of wine as well. So if he's mean again, those will accidentally be leaked onto like Reddit Star Trek leaks or something. So.
Yeah, dumb.
I just need to get
Captain.
That's right, gentlemen, just doing my service, Right, let me just turn on some of the background music a second. There we go, and we've got something other than us to listen to. There you go, perfect. Right, hello everyone, cool, welcome. We can get into the meat and bones of this now. Immediately, episode 7. What a classic style episode this was, and what a fantastic episode. I gotta say, I loved Pike this episode, I'm gonna be honest. He just seemed to be having a whale of a time. It seems like episode 7 and the upcoming episode 8, Anson Man is just playing himself, or being a kid in a candy shop, or a Boy Scout.
I love Boy Scout. I love that. Alpha Braga 4 was hilarious. That whole sequence where they're creating the mutiny on the ship and just Pike with the cooking and everything. Yeah, that was all super delightful. And I was remarking earlier that it was really neat how they were able to kind of like balance the very real drama and tension with like humor. And I think this episode just like nailed it and pulled it off really well. I loved it also.
And Tex, what about yourself? Oh, we've lost him on the transporter again. We can't hear you, buddy. Uh-oh. Engineering.
Engineering's been locked out, unfortunately.
Apparently so. Has anybody watched Texas Review this week or his tweets? We'll sum it up quickly.
I watched Text Track this week, and I think he liked it. He was very fond of this episode, and I forget
because of how we use Discord.
Oh, look at this!
Yeah, you're now split across two. There's a line running down. If only I had technical difficulties, music, I wouldn't get us copyrighted. It'd be hilarious. It's not a TC issue about even me swearing in the first 5 minutes or something going wrong. So, way. I blame pirates.
Technical problems are a staple of online live streaming.
Speaking of technical problems, by the way, Paramount Plus is launching here in the UK this week, so that will be something interesting to watch. And as a resident cynic, completely. I really want to see how that goes down, because
And what's this deal with Star Trek First Contact only being available for like a month on?
Yeah,
I thought that was weird.
I think they've done a 4K remaster or something like that. I've not read it myself yet. TJ in the chat might tell us. And basically, they're deciding to update it or something like that. I don't know. But I don't know why it's only available for a month. I don't think it doesn't make any sense. Why bother? Unless they're going to sell it as DVDs. If so, what's the point of streaming? That's my question. Might as well not bother.
Exactly. I wish the other Star franchise was releasing stuff on Blu-ray though.
See if we can hear. See if we can
hear me.
Way!
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I was actually traveling outside of Federation space, and my subspace buoy that I dropped, I guess, wasn't working correctly, so I was outside of communication. But I think I'm back now.
Well done, well done.
Quick, take over what you thought of Strange New Worlds while I recover the hiccups.
Absolutely. So again, sorry about that, but yeah, this episode was a lot of fun. The funnest part, I don't know if y'all are ready to get into that, or if we want to save that or give people a spoiler warning. But yes, the ending of this episode was such a big highlight for me. It was possibly the highest high I've had watching Strange New Worlds, and that is saying a lot because the show has been fantastic 7 weeks in a row. But yeah, the return of Sybok, something I never thought modern Star Trek would be bold enough to do, because who wants to take something from Star Trek V, the most hated Star Trek movie ever of all time, right? But no, they finally did that. They finally decided that we are going to boldly go, and we're going to go back to Sybok.
It was an interesting move for sure. One I did not expect coming, but also Strange New Worlds is the perfect platform to explore a younger Sybok and how he came to be that character in Star Trek V, you know? It's one of those films not many people are rushing back to watch. So yeah, I really enjoyed that reveal. I love it when series do stuff like this and have that connectivity tissue, because it's not only good for us who know him, but also for those who are new to the series thinking, we've got our first hint of some sort of mysterious character or villain. I love when stuff like that happens.
I've been hoping for Sybok's return since Discovery, actually, because as soon as I found out that like Michael was Spock's sister, I was like, could we get some Sybok action going on here? So yeah, this is really exciting.
As soon as they said James Frain was coming back as Sarek in Discovery, and that Michael Burnham, our new lead character, was going to be his adopted daughter, I was like, man, this is like the perfect opportunity to bring back Sybok. But I bet these cowards don't do it. 5 years later, look, they're doing it. So.
And what a way to do it too, with this this new character, Captain Angel, being associated with him. Like, Captain Angel was pretty awesome foil for Spock in this episode, and I think that we got to see some performances out of, I feel like, Ethan Peck's Spock is just so compelling to watch. There's like so many interesting things that he does, and in this episode especially, I think he was really superb. We got to see him, react to T'Pring with her exploration of human sexuality, and then we got to see
the jokes I have seen of that thing are hilarious. If I see another 50 Shades of Grey joke, honestly.
You know what was weird about that though is, why is T'Pring reading all these 20th century books on the subject? Is there nothing in the 23rd century that humans have written that she could have been reading instead?
100 Shades of Andorian.
Yeah, there you go.
I think Dr. Pulaski is the first one. Later, we'll write a new and updated human sex.
Oh yeah, she's like the leading like sex therapist of the 24th
If
century.
Tasha Yar lived longer, she could write How to Have Sex with Androids 101.
The Pulaski book is called Hot Minute, and it's all about like her encounter with Riker's dad.
Yes.
Riker Files.
But yeah, I guess that's why there's no new information on human sexuality. I feel like we probably like have written the book on it by our time, and so in the future they're just like, oh, we don't need to write a new one.
Basically,
I mean, you can just read Gene Roddenberry's adaptation of Star Trek: The Motion Picture. That's like the most sexual book ever written.
is it actually?
Yeah, it's a really interesting read.
The next time I have a boring like evening, I might read that
That'll spice it up.
That'll spice it up for sure. Oh boy. And immediately the stream has gone off the rails in about 30 minutes in. Welcome back, everybody. You know it's fun when I'm in charge.
But Jack, we didn't just get Sybok in this episode. We also got Stan, which means we're going to be kickstarting some kind of a storyline about him as well, hopefully. So I think that's going to be really interesting to see these stories develop.
I think it's
Stan's
really cool.
Playing the long game, right? Because he's ended up with Capring, so he's gonna start working it now.
I love the way Stranger Worlds is building this right now, because like we know we've got a second season on the way, and I believe they're in the last week of filming right now. I think it's showing they're building a real solid future for this show. And what's also cool is, yes, Stranger Worlds is an episodic series. That doesn't stop it from having these overarching stories in a sense which stretch through. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's many good episodic series that do that. And we've seen it in Star Trek before. Take Voyager, for example. You had Kazon and an Instrum, particularly overarching for a while. And was it Marge Culler? He popped up every now and again. It's these sort of villains and antagonists, pop back up and introduce, and you've got these plots. You still get episodic stories in that same episode, and also here and there. And I think that's what the beauty of this series works really well. You can have the pirate thing, but also everything else at the same time. If that makes sense.
That's a really good point.
No, I was just saying I totally agree as well.
Yeah. No, literally, I really enjoyed it. But yeah, the introduction of both Stan and Sybok as well. Weirdly enough, I don't think they've named the actor who played Sybok yet, which is odd. Like,
yeah, I've been hoping someone would say who it is. I
wonder if they're doing that for a reason.
Father, your guess is that they hadn't, at this point, they hadn't cast anyone yet,
during
right? So
during the time of shooting season 1, they probably had not cast an actor yet. So otherwise, I think you would have, if not shown his face, you would have ADR'd some dialogue in there of him saying something and kind of announced to the world, like, look, we have like this actor cast as Sybok. So he might be in season 2, but I wouldn't expect to see Sybok in season 1 in these remaining 3 episodes.
Well, I feel like they are hinting towards some of the upcoming season 2 content in this episode alone. We have a mention of the Klingons. Spoiler alert, it's highly likely they'll show up in season 2, I believe, or at least there'll be some relation to that. Thank you to whoever leaked that one online. So they're building it. Them. Yeah, so it's like they're almost teasing people right now, because they know, like, even though the Klingons are meant to be elusive a little bit around this era due to the war, they know fans want to see them, because we all want to know what they're up to. So I think it's a good thing.
I mean, we got a little tease about that.
Every Star Trek show finds a way to work in Klingons, right? Except for Picard, but we know Worf is coming to that show in the next few months, or however long it takes for season 3 to get here. So yeah, every Star Trek show, they got to get their Klingon on at some point, right? The
Klingons are as essential as like the Vulcans are. Essentially, you've got to have one everywhere.
Yeah. Those are the 2 most iconic Star Trek races. 2 of the most iconic alien races in all of pop culture are the Vulcans and the Klingons.
For a hot minute, I thought we were going to get the return of L'Rell, possibly, when they said that they were going to sell the crew off to the Klingons. I was like, oh, could Captain Pike call in a favor? Like, that might have been interesting. So.
Well, that's the question, is like whether she's still the High Chancellor of the Klingon Empire and stuff like that. Like, but you know how volatile the Empire is. She can be deposed by now. It's something that's worth exploring.
It would be neat to see L'Rell come back sometime in the future on Strange New Worlds and catch up with her. I think that would be a neat thing, and it would be an interesting story if she was deposed and she's like maybe on the run or something, and maybe Pike's Enterprise has something to do with her getting to safety or something like that.
I totally agree. I think it'd be great to actually see that as well. There's potential there. There's definitely potential. I'm looking forward, like, when we learn more about season 2, because I really think, and TG put this in the chat a minute ago, is I think in episode 10 we're gonna get a cliffhanger ending of some sorts. And I've already got a few theories on that as well, which will start popping online very soon.
Yeah, nice. And I think that might be a good idea. You know, if they want to do a 2-part story, why not do the classic Berman era technique of ending on a cliffhanger
and making us wait a whole year?
Which Lower Decks is doing too.
Thank you, Lower Decks, Mike McCann, you bastard, but in a friendly way.
We only have like 2 months left to wait till we get more Lower Decks.
Yeah, because
it'll be here soon.
We've obviously got Star Trek. Obviously, Strange Worlds ends on July 7th. Which is not that far away now, is it? And then we've also got San Diego Comic-Con the 2 weeks after that, which should reveal air dates for Lower Decks and presumably Prodigy as well, because we've got the second half of Star Trek Prodigy Season 1 later this year at some point. And then we'll have, we might have Picard at some point as well. Am I forgetting one of a show? No, I'm not.
Yeah, I think Picard will, they're going to hold off till February if Brent Spiner is to be believed, but yeah, between Lower Decks and Prodigy, there's that's still 20 episodes of animated Trek to give us later in the year. So we're not going to run out of Star Trek anytime soon.
No, in some ways, I wish we just had like a 2-week break, just for my sanity.
Make our lives a lot easier.
Kurtzman, please, we pray to you. I read something recently. I think it was DJ, one of the TC crew, pointed out to me. And in a recent interview, apparently Alex Kurtzman and some of the Star Trek team read all the articles and stuff that's put online. So I'm now going to start writing my love letters in my articles I write, just like cryptic ones. Because like, if you're going to read this, I'm going to force you to read like some weird stuff. That's why I'm there going, please give us the Odyssey as the Enterprise F, please, for the 50th time. Come on now.
All your articles will just start with "Dear Alex Kurtzman," and then
Overlord.
we're kind of going off on a tangent, but I just want to add to what Jack said there about the Odyssey class Enterprise F. A few years ago, when a lot of the Star Trek Online fans were saying they should totally canonize the Enterprise F as the Odyssey class, I was thinking like, I don't think they would ever do that. They would redesign it. But now, after all the Star Trek Online love that Picard Season 2 got, when we get the Enterprise F, I think it's totally, for sure, without a doubt, going to be the Odyssey class.
Oh, do start me now. I think it's going. I've seen an image of the ship for season 3. I'm not going to say anything, but yeah, I'm interested. Let's say that I am very interested. But someone did accidentally leak out one online, but we won't repost it for the sake of it, A being shot and B ruining creators' visions, essentially. Because I'm sure Paramount are looking for any excuse to torpedo my house lately. But no. I am very much excited for that. And if it is actually the Odyssey, to be clear, we've seen an image, a very blurred and like decrypted one. It's hard to actually tell. But when we see this ship on screen, if it looks like the Odyssey or perhaps is a redesign of it, I'll probably cry. I think we should do live reactions to that, gents. That'd be great.
Wow, you will have the same reaction that I had when they showed Sybok in this episode, because I literally leaped from my chair. I was in my nice, comfy, lazy boy recliner, watching this on my big screen TV, having a great time watching a new episode of Star Trek. And when Ethan Peck said the word Sybok, and we get that shot of the back of Sybok, I leaped from my chair and I began uncontrollably scream. It was like screaming and laughing at the same time, and I couldn't stop. I was so loud. I woke up my poor partner Antonia was trying to take a nap, and I woke her up because I couldn't stop screaming about this character from a movie that came out in 1989.
You know about Leonardo DiCaprio? Oh, go on.
Oh, I was just saying, I was in bed and I put the covers up to my face and started screaming as well. So
you know that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where like what movie it's one where he's going wait, like he basically he's on the sofa and like gets excited. Which someone should like put that and Sybok's appearance. I might do that for a meme tomorrow on Trek Central. That could be an idea. Whoever steals the idea. Yeah. TJ, if you got time, edit that quickly. Put it and edit together. Everyone knows the meme I'm referring to. It's like Leonardo DiCaprio. It might be Wolf of Wall Street. I can't remember what film it is, but it's quite funny. Someone should edit that as a meme and put it up. But yeah, Sybok's appearance, I say that's definitely something, going back on track, that's definitely something I think will come back to haunt us at a later date, as well as Captain Angel. I doubt it is the last we've seen of them. Jesse James Cattell has done a fantastic job of bringing this elusive character to life, if we can call them that. Like, I loved their character.
Yeah.
That sort of like double play, because I generally did not expect it. And as I say lately, it takes a lot for me to be surprised by modern media these days. I've seen so much of it and played so many games, I can usually predict stuff from a mile away. So the fact I did not see this coming with that character and how they portrayed themselves, I loved it.
Yeah, Jesse James Keitel was awesome in this episode, and she was just a showstopper when the reveal happened, and she like revealed who she actually is. I kind of like was wondering about it, because I was like, there were times where I was like, something's up, because Dr. Aspen like is really interested in the Serene Squall, and like seems to like know a lot about it. So I didn't know what the twist was going to be, but I was kind of suspicious that not all was as it seems. But it was really great when we got the reveal. And I kind of wonder what's up with the real Dr. Aspen, who's stranded. I wonder if we'll ever get to meet them.
Yeah, like I wonder if that's the case. Is like there was a real Dr. Aspen at one point. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there was, because Captain Angel says, they say something like, "Where's Dr. Aspen?" And then probably where I left them on this deserted planet, or something like that. So probably still where I left them on this deserted planetoid, or something like that.
That'll be interesting.
They make a point of saying that Angel didn't kill them.
Okay.
Right.
They actually don't kill anyone in this episode, which I think is kind of important, because we probably don't want Sybok to be that villainous that he's like hanging out with a murderer. Angel threatens to kill Spock and puts on a good performance of being someone totally, willing to murder somebody to what their end goal is. But as the whole Dr. Aspen disguise showed all of us, if Angel's nothing else, they are a masterful performer and actor, and good at putting on a show and being deceitful. So it's possible Angel's not actually that, and I think that's very important, because whenever we do get the proper introduction of Sybok, I don't want him to be like like the equivalent of the Gorn in Strange New Worlds. It's like a heartless monster just like slaughtering people left and right. That's too much. I still have to preserve some of that likable Sybok from Star Trek V. There's not a lot of likable stuff in that movie, so
I want to talk about something that bugged the hell out of me this episode. The Enterprise was boarded and taken over pretty piss poorly, in a sense, where like you're telling me the flagship of the Federation was able to be boarded that quickly, and not one single shot was fired by Starfleet security. I know there's shots on the bridge and such like, but you're telling me like it was the whole, like, how many decks on the ship, like 17 or something like that, or more, and it was able to take it out so quickly. For me, I was like, hang on a minute, this feels like an issue. Like, surely there should have been a bit more like, sealed warfare and something like that. I don't know, it just seemed a bit weird. What did you guys think of it? Well, it's just me complaining, I don't know.
If I had to guess what was happening in universe, I would say that Captain Angel was able to covertly find out what the shift rotations for security were, and like the security strongholds or points, and then her crew knew exactly where to beam in to like subdue security. And out in the real world, and they probably didn't have budget to do as many scenes, so they focused on the bridge battle instead, which was pretty awesome. That was really awesome.
I loved the bridge battle. Yeah. Also, can we appreciate Starfleet allowing them to keep weapons concealed away? It's a great idea. Like, how many times the Enterprise D's bridge boarded and Picard was punching someone like that? I remember episode where, I'm going to call it the terrorist episode, where people were flashing under a bridge of the Enterprise and such and planting bombs, and Picard just punches someone in the face. But here we have, like, number one able to grab a phaser under Pike's chair and shoot from there. It's a great little tactic, I think, and worked really well. Again, if we could see that in more places. I think the only time Starfleet actually properly armed themselves in the 24th century was during the Dominion War, and I think some, and like the First Contact and Nemesis and such. So I'm like, realistically, having hidden away phasers makes a ton more sense. Like, I know we're ships of exploration, but defend yourselves. I think Voyager might be the exception, because Janeway and Chakotay, as I put in our review, they had phasers down like the middle of Janeway's chair. I think she had 2 hand phasers down or something like that. So I remember one episode, I think it's the Equinox episode, she's like, arm yourselves, quickly.
Janeway would. Janeway would.
Totally she threw the coffee at them.
I really like the bridge battle.
The bridge, it's great.
idea that they could just snap into action like that. You gotta keep in mind this is shortly after the Klingon War, so Starfleet is probably a little bit more on edge. They're probably a little bit more leaning into their military side more than in most eras. They probably like run drills on stuff like this, like, oh yeah, a bunch of raiders come and attack the bridge, like let's run a drill on like pulling out your phaser and going into action. So it was cool to see that they have that military discipline and they're able to get serious when they need to.
I can imagine Lan being the type of person to run those drills. Lan, she reminds me a bit of like Malcolm Reed in a sense of Enterprise, where it's like running weapon drills and stuff like that and tactical training. But also, can I point out, this is why Starfleet shouldn't have gotten rid of the bloody Makos. They would have done the job pretty swiftly, wouldn't they? Have a couple of them hanging around, have a detachment. Like, I know stuff.
Jeff, you're a Mako stan.
I am.
You keep bringing them up.
I am more like military focused, to be fair. So,
Jack, if the Makos are your jam, you have to give props to Star Trek V because William Shatner wanted to have Starfleet Marines, and when they do that,
that's right.
That raid down on Paradise City, you have that shot of all the Starfleet Marines or security personnel, whatever you want to call them, but they're getting like their phasers ready to go and everything. So they're basically 23rd century Makos in that movie.
To be fair, it makes sense, and like I think that was like a flaw of the Dominion War in a sense of what shook Starfleet up was Starfleet doesn't actually have very many ground forces for deployment, essentially. Like, fair enough, they are an exploration thing, no one would ever want to change that. However, having properly trained people to deal with these scenarios and more tactical awareness of that would make sense. I know we've got Voyager Elite Force with a video game which has that sort of like contingent aboard Voyager. It's a really cool concept, and the hazard teams and such, again, really cool. We're not seeing anything on screen like that soon. I'd like to think probably Starfleet does have that and could have that. Yeah. Right.
You see that infantryman in DS9 in season 4 who got blown up by the Klingons in front of Jake Sisko.
Yeah. That's I'm going to be honest, I can't remember that one. I'll be. It's a bit of a long shot there for me to remember. I've not watched DS9 in ages. I'm currently watching Stargate SG-1, so my mind's on that lately.
Okay. I haven't seen DS9 in a long time either, but I kind of remember that scene. But ultimately, I think... Oh, go ahead.
Or I'm sorry, no, it was season 5. And the episode I'm thinking of is called Nor the Battle to the Strong.
Ooh. Oh, okay.
Speaking of episode titles, by the way, Strange Worlds is nailing it with the episode titles lately. Like, there's some really good ones that just, like, sound beautiful no matter what they mean. Like, it's really nice.
Serene Squall is such a cool name for a ship, too, by the way. Like, it's like... A squall is a storm, but it's like a serene squall. There's like
I love that. The original series had such cool, enticing episode titles like Balance of Terror or The Savage Curtain or For the World is Hollow, I've Touched the Sky. And I think
love
Next
that one.
Generation kind of lost that. Like if this was a TNG episode or a Voyager episode, it probably would have been called Pirates. Or something like that.
Yeah, some sort of. I will say, as much as it gets flack, Discovery season 1 also had some beautiful like episode titles, like Context for Kings and stuff like that. Or I think it's The Wolf Let Us Not Cry or something like that. I think those sort of names there, like no matter what you think of Discovery season 1, the episode names are beautiful. I love them.
Butcher's knife cares not for the lamb's cries.
Yeah, it's very poetic, you know.
I need to watch.
Yeah,
and it does connect to the episode because it's connected to the whole Vox storyline and things like that. Vox, however you pronounce it. Or do our Kalish impressions, you know. Kalish. I can't do Klingon. Quickly, Veritas, thank you for your $20 donation. Bloody hell, man. Quickly, get the red alert. Do I have a signboard for red alert? I don't know if I do. I do have a red alert. It does play. There we go. The new Starfleet Tactical Armies Fire. We should do like a clothing line, but with Starfleet Tactical stuff. That'd be great.
It is really cool, the tactical uniforms and how they're color coded and stuff like that. It's very nice to see. Yeah, it's cool. There were a lot of other Star Trek V connections too. Did you guys think that like Captain Angel's kind of MO was very similar to like Sybok's, the whole switch, like get people to come to the rescue, like, of someone.
Oh, yeah.
So that you could steal their ship or whatever.
All I'm saying is like... they should have chucked a reference in. We're going, what a pirate's need of a ship or something like that. Some cheeky callback lines. What a guard need of a starship, If they'd squeezed that one in there, it'd have been brilliant.
The crew that takes over the Enterprise with her, they don't look a million miles away from Sybok's Galactic Army of Light. Isn't that what they were called?
Yeah, Galactic Army of Light. That's right. Yeah, that too, and just like I think what was it, the wheel on the on the Serene Squall, like that was
in Trek 5.
I love that Pike's taking over. There's like, we've done a mutiny, bang bang. On second thought, it's not. Can you boost that now? We've not quite done the whole mutiny yet. I feel like I'll go back to skin, like I said at the start before we like beamed out there for a second. It was the thing where like Pike this episode is just like a kid in a toy box, to be fair. Next week, the preview trailer for Anson Mount in episode 8 looks hilarious, where he's like, of course. It's like, my lady. And like his acting potential is being displayed, because so far we've only seen him playing Pike so far, and having a few episodes. I feel like this episode next week is going to really push the boat on how we see Anson Mount pulling off these versions of Captain Pike, and they look hilarious, to be fair. He's like a big kid.
I also like that his hair was down in this episode. I really appreciated
thank
that.
Christ.
Remy the Orion is the worst villain in all of Star Trek. He's the first character to mess up Pike's hair.
Remy was pretty funny too. I like the crew, and how they were like interacting with him and everything, and he was a great new addition to the Orions. He's adding color to the Orions that we've seen. We haven't seen an Orion pirate since the animated series, right?
Yeah.
Or I guess, were there pirates in Enterprise? They're like kidnapping people and
yeah, I guess they're pirates in general, because Tendi. That's right. Tendi says they're like that's right.
We do see
a pirate base.
We see Orions. We see Orions in Enterprise. There's slave trade scene in there.
Right, no. I thought we hadn't seen them doing piracy though.
Doing piracy.
Oh, okay,
like
I guess
they're prostitutes, and then they're like a criminal organization or whatever the Emerald Chain was. But...
Yeah. Okay, I don't mean that.
I think they're called sex workers, by the way. Just FYI.
Brian sex workers, yes.
Space sex workers
on Kronos.
I ain't touching that one with a barge pole, I'll be honest. Like, the conversation that's moving swiftly onwards teasing. Before we before I'm apologizing at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning for something. I've completely lost track now. Nurse Chapel. This is a character who also stood out this episode as well.
Yeah.
The Just Bush depiction of Christine Chapel has just really caught on with viewers. Everyone I've talked to about this show seems to just be in love with this version of Nurse Chapel.
It's basically Die Hard. Nurse Chapel and Spock do Die Hard.
Kind of do. It's true.
I liked her using the hypo spray to take down those two dudes. I thought that was cool. When we see that hypo spray up her sleeve, and her her line of dialogue, like don't worry, I'm a nurse. But then she uses like her nursiness. I love that when like characters, like whatever like the thing that they are, like that's how they win. That's how they save the day or whatever. It's by like leaning into whatever their personal skill set is. What confused me is in engineering when Spock and Angel get there to get control of the ship, and Chapel's startled by them and then holds up the hypo spray like, are you going to like shoot that across the room at like, I don't think hypo sprays work that way. But whatever.
That's pretty funny.
To me, it really would. Like, I love sort of Die Hard elements. Also, Jeffrey's tubes. Climbing with Jeffrey's tubes.
Yeah,
been waiting to see that for a while.
Oh my god, it was beautiful. I want to go crawl around it. I was like, when Rutherford on Lower Decks, when he was just like spent like a whole week in the Jeffries tubes. It's like I want to go to this Strange New Worlds Enterprise and just live in the Jeffries tubes. I would just be content
Speaking
to
of
live
which,
there.
by the way, Paramount once again have missed a trick with some sort of like commercial things they could have done for fans. All I'm saying is we had a game a while ago called Star Trek Bridge Crew VR. I'm contemplating my hair on the stream. Which basically where you could tour or you could play on the bridge of like a JJ ship, which is really fun. All I'm saying, I would happily pay like £10-15 for a game where we could explore the sets of like the Stargazer, the new Pike's Enterprise, and stuff like that, and walk around. And it would also be really cool as well. So Disney Plus has done this thing called The Gallery for Mandalorian, where basically it's all behind the scenes and tours around. I would happily listen to 10 minutes of Dave Blast like walking us around the Stargazer, or the production designers of Strange New Worlds taking us around the Enterprise, stuff like that, or sets. Give us this extra content. You've got it there. It doesn't take too much to produce it. The budget would be so low for it.
I agree 100%. Like that's one of the best things.
Yeah, put it on the Blu-rays. Put it on Paramount Plus.
You do get them there, yeah.
Give us more reasons to. I mean, Paramount Plus is launching here in the UK this week, and already there is a few issues that are starting to point out, and we'll cover them in a week. But like, give us this extra content to actually subscribe for. Disney Plus these days, to use it as the example and comparison, because it has got all of this extra content. You're not just watching the mainline stuff. If you get bored of that, and let's be honest, most fans will either get bored of watching all of it twice, and probably 5 times as some if it's us. Then they've got extra stuff to watch, like these gallery things. Well, I know on Disney, they have these, you can now put on your TV, like, landscapes and stuff like that. I'd happily put a Vulcan landscape on my TV on a loop, you know? I'd do that. Or like a loop of the bridge or something like that, or engine room.
Have those CGI assets, you know, everything they create for their AR wall and everything, so it'd be very easy for animators to go and make something like that.
I really hope there's something to look forward to in the future, because, like, it's basically like, you know, when you run a business, you basically have to make use of most of your assets and get the most out of them. Paramount could be doing it right now by appeasing fans with giving us extra content and also just making more money as well. Like, it's a no-brainer.
They need a full-time documentary filmmaker on staff to do all these documentaries and like extended footages. Like I guess like that would be cool, and put it out. I love those gallery series that you're talking about, by the way. That's something that I think Star Trek should totally do.
I think it's because Paramount think like people aren't going to watch it and stuff like that. Like, it appears sometimes Paramount don't actually see how valuable the fandom are when it comes to sort of things like this. But I think Star Trek fans, if anything, out of a lot of the modern media franchises, will absolutely watch the shit out of some behind-the-scenes stuff like that, and they'll love it. Because we see online all the time, as soon as a new episode drops, you've got people like Jorg who are breaking down the entire, you know, episode, things like that, and finding all the hidden details. You know, fans would happily pay money to, you know, watch a behind-the-scenes thing about Pike's bloody Ready Room shelf, for Christ's sakes. You know, I'd do that. I'd watch it. So, like, the material's there. Like, come on now. Understand the fans. We want this stuff.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. Going back to Jess Bush for a second, though, she was a standout in this episode, as well as the actor who plays T'Pring. The two of them were... Everyone in the episode was firing also... thank you. They were all firing on all cylinders, I thought. But it was really cool, that moment at the end when, you know, Spock comes to talk to her. You could really see, like, in her performance that she was just, like, kind of didn't want to get hurt. You know, she didn't want to talk about her, like, what her feelings were and everything. So she kind of just did that thing of like, I know you're a good guy, Spock, and you would never do anything. So I already know the answer to this. And she kind of like didn't let him, you know, I think when he came to her and he was like, oh, you know, I know humans like to talk about their feelings. I think he was projecting a little bit. And
he wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, he wanted to talk about it, and she didn't really give him a chance to. So I thought that was beautiful acting between the two of them, and it was just like kind of very poignant and stuff. And it's interesting that Spock chose to say the same phrase to both T'Pring and to Nurse Chapel. You know me so well, you know, like so, or is that what he says, right? Like, you know me well, or something like that.
Yeah.
So he says the same thing to both of them. So yeah, very compelling stuff. I know it's
very juicy drama.
Yeah, juicy drama.
Like, people watch Star Trek for so many different reasons. A lot of us, you know, enjoy the sci-fi elements, or the ship battles, or the cool tech, or the moral quandaries, or the philosophical debates. But yeah, when they can have like some juicy drama in there too, you basically have like these 3 different connections with Spock. You have starting to fall for Aspen, but then, you know, he's got this commitment to T'Pring, and then he's acknowledging that there's the spark between him and Chapel. So yeah, it was really fun to watch just all of that. The scene of him and Chapel kissing, and the way that it's framed with T'Pring behind them on the big view screen, and you have the kiss is like shoved in your face, but then you also have her reaction looming large over. Just great visual storytelling right there.
Yeah, totally, 100%.
So I've just been sent a note. Paramount obviously launching. I'm going to go off rails again. Paramount are launching the service here in the UK, and they're running like an event in London to promote it. And this, I'm going to phrase this somehow, because it's going to come across as salty no matter how I say it, but it's sort of that, but also just bewilderment at the same time. It makes me laugh when, as like one of the largest Star Trek fan groups out there and outlets covering it, primarily based in the UK, don't even get invited to something like this. And it said influencers, and no disrespect to them, who have absolutely no relation to any of the stuff being streamed, are invited. Am I the only one who thinks it's a little bit weird? I know it comes across as me sounding rather salty. That's not the intention, but I am bewildered by it generally. PR is a weird thing.
I say Paramount invite Trek Central now. it is a bit weird that y'all are not there.
Thing. The pop-up bar they did in LA.
Oh, yeah.
They were inviting a bunch of popular influencers in the LA area, but yeah, a lot of them were like not that into Star Trek, so it
just feels like a weird thing because, like, yeah, you can still invite these influencers, but invite some hardcore Trekkies at the same time, and you might actually, you know, get a bit more like proper publicity, because like the likes of us and many other Star Trek, like, I'll use the word to cover all Star Trek influencers out there who've got a following and, you know, are well respected in the community, have access to talking to that community. I mean, Trek Central is almost 100,000 people right now. You guys have your respective communities which should either cross over with ours or contain unique members. Allowing them to see stuff like this via events would be a good idea. But yeah. And someone saying it's press. No, it's definitely PR as well, because I can see it in front of me. And they're not press, it's influencers. It just bewilders me. Like, I've seen it before when it comes to tons of stuff. Like, I know Star Wars do it a bit differently and Disney, so I'll let them off a hook. But still, like, come on, guys. It's bewilders me. I know I'm going to see this all for the week now as well. It's like, we're in the UK as well. We've been told before that we're not allowed to see certain things because we're in the UK as a Star Trek fan group, and most of our audience is in the US. Bloody hell.
Come on, yeah.
I hate the internal business politics.
You'll just have to crash the gate and
oh yeah. I'm sure that'll go down really well with how well Paramount like us lately. Okay, I'm literally watching this right now. No. You've not heard the end of this now. I apologize to both of you. I'm going to go off on it. There's literally two people I've worked with before who are there right now who've got no relation to sci-fi, Star Trek, or Halo, or Strange New Worlds, or Discovery, or anything like that. What the hell? You know, whatever. Bloody technology. Want to start a petition to get Trek Century? No, don't do that, because already enough hot water as it is these days. So let's not punch, or let's not sink the own ship. But yeah, Paramount Plus is launching here in the UK on June 22nd. So if you're desperate to watch Strange New Worlds, you can actually tune in. It's Wednesday or Thursday. I think it's Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah, Wednesday, June 22nd. All of the library will be on it. Well, actually, all of the library. We'll give you an update of when it's there. But yeah, so finally, you can watch Strange New Worlds a legit way, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, for those who are interested in it. So yeah, good luck. Sorry, we can go back on topic now. I've got it out of my system for the next one. I see Tex looking very disappointed in me. I've got it out now.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
He's at the end of the stream, you'll get an email inviting you, and then you'll be like, "Whoops!" I
was like, "Quickly, delete the stream! Delete the stream!
Delete the stream! Edit.
The Trek says just go. Nobody clip that! Nobody clip it!" No,
but yeah.
Let's speak about episode 8 actually, because we've covered a lot of aspects of episode 7. I want to hear your guys' thoughts about the upcoming 8th episode, because already from the teaser trailer, it looks hilarious. Tex, what do you think of it so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been a long tradition in Star Trek of sometimes you're able to create these stories that let your characters, like you were saying with Pike, you know, play something like a little bit different. And so yeah, with this looks like it's going to be what we saw in like a lot of the trailers at the beginning of the season, but the kind of like the fairy tale fantasy episode. So yeah, it looks like we'll have the crew in, you know, different roles, maybe playing different characters or different versions of their character. So that'll be exciting. It'll spice things up to get out of the typical routine for a little bit.
I think also this is a centric episode for Mbenga as well, because we've had one episode sort of focus on him, which is where we learn about his daughter, but I don't think we've had a dedicated proper episode to him. So it looks like this episode might be that for him, which would be quite nice. Also, Hemmer's back as well.
Yeah, we had to go 3 episodes without Hemmer. Like, what the hell? I never, ever want to do that again.
Yeah.
Like, please, Strange New World writers, never make me go 3 episodes without Hemmer again the rest of my life.
Yeah,
there's 3 episodes left, and who doesn't have a starting log yet? So it's Ortegas, Hammer, and Mbenga, right? They haven't had little logs, so maybe those will be the last 3 focus points.
I think we'll see more of Hammer in season 2. To be fair,
it's not really how it works. It's not like whoever does the log entry, like the episode's about them. Like this episode wasn't about T'Pring primarily, but she did that.
That's true, but I'm just saying it's tended to be that way up until now. So maybe they'll do it again. But either way, maybe they'll give us focused episode on more focus on Hammer, more focus on Ortegas.
We need hashtag more Tegas for sure.
More Tegas, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I hope we get that in the last 3. And then you're saying that there might be a cliffhanger at the end of episode 10. So I'm excited to see what that is. But I guess we won't see Sybok again this season. It'll probably definitely be a season 2 thing. Yeah.
If I had to theorize, because I don't want to talk about too much episode 10 right so far, because we'll save it for next week and such or something like that, or we'll pass over to that. But I've got a few theories for how episode 10 might come around. So we'll talk about it then, because I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Sybok, but also wouldn't be surprised if we see him. It's up in the air, right? It's 50-50, I think. That's my idea on it. I just gave a very cryptic and confused response there. Let's talk about it another day, because I don't know right now. I would love to see more Sam Kirk, by the way.
An article. Yeah, more Sam Kirk would be nice too. I think it's gonna be. I think it's interesting. I do think that. I think maybe he'll play more of a part in season 2. But it seems like Sam Kirk could be a good reason why Jim Kirk comes into play, because they're brothers. So who knows? They might have like a reason to see each other or something like that. So
we know from the second season, episode 1, that Kirk does appear in that. So when it comes to the idea of a cliffhanger ending for season episode 10, is all I will say.
But also, I don't know if they would have had Kirk cast back when they shot season 1 last year. Like if you remember with Star Trek Discovery season 2, they knew they were going to bring in Pike and Spock and Number 1 on the Enterprise, but we just see them encounter the Enterprise. They don't actually show, Anson Mount, because they hadn't cast their actor yet for season 2 of Discovery. So maybe, I guess, like the equivalent of that would be like the Enterprise just comes across the Farragut or something like that.
So I can say this.
Like, oh, that's my brother's ship.
I think I can say this for sure. There is definitely going to be some reference to the Farragut or Farragut. A reason I'm pronouncing it differently there in episode 10. I am confident something is going to happen there, and hopefully I'm not talking my ass. But for those of you who've seen it, you can all fuck off. For those of us who haven't, I can theorize, because there's a little detail we're aware of at the minute which may point to something related to the Farragut or Farragut in episode 10. Yeah. Interesting,
huh? But there's still a lot to do in season 1, because Alex Kurtzman has promised the return of the Gorn. We're getting like the Fairy Tale Kingdom episode next week, but from the original season 1...
Episode 9 will be the horror episode.
Okay, is that going to be the one with like the snowy planet, the crashed ship on the snowy planet?
Yes, I'm confident that's the one. Based on what we put together now, episode 9 looks to be the crash, Connie, and that was where we see the baby Gorn in one of the teaser trailers as well.
Oh, a crashed Constitution class. Isn't the Farragut a Constitution?
Indeed,
Isn't the Farragut a Constitution class?
So
we don't know what it is.
The Farragut, so that's the text point. The Farragut is up in the air because it is a Constitution class, but also some also refer to it as another class as well. So this is their time to actually canonize what the bloody hell the ship is. In one way, I hope it's maybe not a Constitution class, because I feel like having Kirk step up to Commander Connie would make more sense, because Connies are seen as like the big boy ships of the Federation of Starfleet right now. I mean, Burnham and Tilly discussed this in Discovery season 1 or 2, where it's like serving on a Constitution is like, one of the highest honors of Starfleet at this point in time. It's the equivalent of like in Picard's era serving on a Galaxy class or a Sovereign. Those are the elite ships and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I'm hoping the crashed one is not the Farragut or Farragut. So I know I could be wrong.
I guess they refer to the Constitution class as like the state of the art or something like that. Yeah, it was like something like, I forgot. It was
even though I think by Discovery they're at least 10 years old, so which is state of the art by technology. So
but even in Discovery, when Michael is jogging around the Discovery with Tilly in season 1 and trying to get her on the the command training program. Yeah, she's saying like, you know, like in a few years you could even transfer to a Constitution class ship like the Enterprise, and then, you know, then you're really on track to make captain.
So yeah, I wonder if that, you could be right there. This could be the Farragut, and that's how Kirk's, you know, excuse me, on track to be captain.
What if the Farragut is the crashed ship in episode
because we also see Sam Kirk on that away team as well.
Oh wow, yeah. He's like scared he's gonna find his dead brother. It's ironic considering what happens to him, right?
Everyone's seeing a future, yeah. Killed by a pancake, yeah.
His wife and kids at this point, he must, right? Like they should bring that up. Like he mentions like his wife or his kid or something.
In the first episode, it's mentioned.
How old is Peter Kirk in that episode? Is he like a tween already? Maybe like 12 or something,
like
or 13?
12.
Oh, okay, 16. So yeah, you can have a little kiddo.
I think in episode 1, Pike asks how the wife and kids are, how the family is.
Oh, he does, okay. Right?
Something I have to double check. I'm pretty sure when they like shake hands, he asks. I have to double check it myself, but unless somebody knows. But yeah, that'd be interesting. Maybe we'll get more of them at some point. That could be really cool. Maybe once like the Kirk's introduced properly and we get a bit more Sam Kirk, they could have like another Starbase episode where that takes place. That could be really cool.
That would be very cool. I agree.
I'm really looking forward to that Crash Connie episode. I think that's the one I'm really looking forward to. Although I hate horror stuff, I'm very intrigued by Crash Constitution classes, so that has got my attention.
Yeah, it looks great in that one shot. So yeah, I'm excited about that too. What else was in Star Trek news this week?
Oh, there was a lot from Terry Matalas talking about.
Oh, that's right. Did you read that?
3.
Yes.
Yeah, the Inglorious Treksperts podcast. People should listen to that if you want to get the scoop on Card Season 3.
So I've got a couple of notes regarding that conversation. If you guys would like to discuss that one quickly, so it could be an idea.
Sure.
I would love to. Yeah.
So from some quotes stuff like that, I noticed down after listening to a podcast. Obviously, they did touch on the idea of like the departed characters such like Evan Evagor, Santiago Cabrera, Alison Pill, and Issa Briones, and a few others and such. But they're basically on about the idea of the upcoming Picard Season 3, and this is where it gets interesting, is it's about passing on the torch from one generation to the next, essentially. And Terry Matalas says he personally loves them when, you know, Dr. McCoy is walking around the Enterprise D of Data in the first episode of Next Gen. So whether we're going to see something like that happen is really cool, or whether we're going to see like the next generation of the next generation is how I'm going to say it, would be really cool. Because Terry also says about wanting to basically work more on the 25th century of Star Trek, so, you know, post 2401, which I think is perfect. And I'm going to write about it soon. I think Star Trek needs to do another series in the future. Yes, I know Discovery's in the future, but that's not my point. It needs one around the similar time frame of Next Gen, Discovery, and Picard, so we can still utilize some characters and that familiar setting. That is arguably where the core of Star Trek canon is built at the minute, and has been for the last like 20 to 30 years. Exploring more of that there's more room to explore that, I think.
I agree with that 100%, and I'm excited that he made it sound like there might be something brewing or in development. It seems like I don't know when they're gonna call it, but it seems like the Section 31 show, which is on a perpetual back burner. Michelle Yeoh is getting so popular, you know, she's like becoming like such a superstar. Now she's doing another show, right? Like, isn't there?
Yeah, she's got something else, I think. Well, I think she's always in like a couple of movies each year. She's got a couple more series coming out as well, so it's going to be a case she's in quite a lot of stuff, and I don't think she has time to do it anytime soon, which is understandable.
Yeah, and we haven't heard a peep out of Shazad Latif in Star Trek, so who knows?
No, he's spoken about it before. He's previously said he's like either waiting for the phone call or something like that. So,
gotcha.
Yeah. I think
so maybe we'll continue in the 25th century. So that would be pretty cool.
I mean, Terry Matalas definitely has something that he's pitched them, or that there's been some conversation with Alex Kurtzman about something, because he got really coy all of a sudden and was like, yeah, I can't talk about, I think the exact thing he says is, I can't talk about that, but if this was a text interview now is where you would write, the showrunner smiled devilishly. So there's something going on. I don't know if it'll actually get green lit, but there's an idea there.
There's an idea floating
so
around.
Here's the quote. I wrote it down. He said, "I think to me, this period of time in the Star Trek universe, I'd love to spend more time in. There's nothing less than 30 legacy characters across Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Next Gen that you'd love to check in and see. You can't see them all in Picard season 3. He talks about Mars O'Brien briefly, but he says, "You're going to find out certain things. I would love nothing more than to stay in the year of 2401 to tell more Star Trek stories in this universe." So that's all I'll say. That almost seems like a cryptic hint about what may be coming up.
I think there's a clue. I think there's a clue also as to who's remaining on the cast from the next generation, so to speak, which is Seven and Rafi.
Yes.
So maybe
we knew that ahead of time, to be fair.
Yeah. So maybe the next show, it won't be centered necessarily around the Enterprise. It could be centered around, Seven and the Stargazer, and I'd be super down for that. I mean, the Stargazer looks like a pretty awesome ship to follow.
Yes,
yep.
yeah.
Has talked about doing some live action Star Trek again. So wouldn't that be cool if we had Kate Mulgrew and Jerry Ryan on the same show again, especially after they had such bad blood that people have talked about like during the production of Voyager, and I guess like they've kind of like mended things up. So wouldn't that be very appropriate to have like the two of them to work together again, and now they might have like a little bit of a more positive working relationship.
For sure, that would be perfect. Also, we've got Kate Mulgrew in Star Trek Prodigy right now. Obviously, that's set, a few years. Well, Prodigy's date's a little bit interesting, to be fair, but that's set all over the place currently. So there's definitely a chance for that to link up and connect with things like that. And obviously, we know Janeway's still running around currently in the Star Trek timeline. She's probably still running around by the same time that Picard and Seven are doing their adventures as well. I know the Stargazer set has been dismantled already, I think, or at least like put the covers over it. But just because it's dismantled doesn't mean they can't put it back together pretty quickly. Like Dave Blass spoke about how they switched up the corridors with ease because they put them on wheels. That set was built to be versatile for a reason. It would be probably pretty easy to put it back together compared to making a whole new thing. And they spent a lot of money on that set. Much like when they built the Enterprise set for the end of Discovery, you don't just build those sets to use for a couple of episodes. You kind of have something more in plan for them. So that's what I'm saying. And we said this for ages when the Enterprise appeared in Discovery. You don't spend all that money building a whole set if you're just going to use it for a couple of episodes. Yes, the Stargazer Bridge will be used again for this new mysterious ship in Season 3, which warrants the budget costs and such. And they did say they only filmed the bridge scenes at the very end of Season 2. But I strongly believe they wouldn't just chuck it away after that. Paramount are tight on money and are quite tight asses, so they're not going to spend it and chuck it the next day.
If they are doing something with those assets, it's not going to be in LA. It's going to be in Toronto, where they shoot everything else. Because Picard was 4 times the price of Strange New Worlds or Discovery. So if they were going to move things to Canada, you'd have to take it down.
I think I heard something a while back that they're moving stuff, or they're shivvying around studios essentially. Which could be really cool. So, yeah, that'd be interesting. Also, to just remind me, Discovery Season 5 has just started filming this week as well. So, back on track of that now. We'll likely see that post-Picard next year, I believe. So, or maybe post-Strange New Worlds, I'd actually imagine. That would make more sense. So, I think in terms of the Trek schedule right now, we're looking at Lower Decks coming up in August, probably. We're then looking at Prodigy starting mostly in probably October, November, perhaps, somewhere around there. And then we're seeing Picard Season 3 in February. Those are all tentative dates, by the way, for those apparently about to quote me in any newspapers. We do not know for certain just yet. However, I presume after Picard, we will likely see Strange New World Season 2, then Discovery Season 5. That's how I envision the schedule going, would make a lot more sense. And then we'll probably see Prodigy Season 2 and things like that, which will probably fit in rather nicely. So that's how our current Trek schedule is looking. Obviously, pending of how things might go. But I think that sounds really nice. We've got a lot of Trek content to look forward to. And also, we may
Lower Decks Season 4. There's going to be a 4th season of Lower Decks. That's been greenlit.
And I imagine that'll come next year as well. So we might see the Star Trek movie next year.
I know, what a great time.
We're not seeing it next year. We're not seeing it next year. I refuse to see. I don't think. I'm not being a hater. We just don't think we'll see that movie anytime soon because apparently they've only just we're not even got the script together properly yet or something. So
they have a script, but
I think it's like
delay is that the actors, they all seem to want to do it, and I think a big part of that is they just like hanging out together. But just like scheduling. These are all such big actors now. They've all had much bigger careers since they did 2009, over a decade ago. So it's just going to be, can they get the stars aligned where everyone's available?
Cost a hell of a lot of money.
It's going to cost a lot. They have a director, they have a script. They were doing some rewrites to the script, but I think they were just getting it ready to shoot. But yeah, I mean, everyone seems to be on board. It's just if they can't get things lined up in time, eventually someone's going to get too busy with something else, or that director is going to leave to go do another project. Yeah. It might fall apart if it takes too long, but
we've also had the other Star Trek movies in and about before as well. Like Clinda Vacquez was also making her own thing for a while. She's a Discovery writer, I believe. So that was up in the air at one point. Not sure if that's still moving. Most likely we'll hear that it's died next week or something like that, as with most Star Trek movies apparently go. Yeah, they're all on their way to stow the core these days. But no, I do hope we get another Star Trek movie at some point, or some other form of Star Trek media, which should be very cool. Also, speaking of Star Trek media, we've also got 2 video games on the way soon as well. We've got Star Trek Resurgence, which is the sort of more mature game, and we also have Star Trek Prodigy Supernova as well, which is a kids game, but also going to be able to be played by, the older generation as well, which is really nice. So we've got a lot of Trek stuff coming out, not just this year, but next year as well. It's a great time to be a Star Trek fan, and that's something we always say lately.
Yeah.
The Lower Decks mobile game.
Yes, I forgot that one actually. Yeah.
3 games on the horizon.
Oh, wow.
3 very different games. So yeah, choose your flavor of game.
And obviously Star Trek Online, as much as some may love or hate that, is continuing on really well and really strongly at the minute.
Strong.
It's had its latest expansion out recently, which I've forgotten the name of. Is it Stormfall, I think it was? Or that might be the previous one, I can't remember. I always forget.
I wish they opened up a gate just like in Picard in Star Trek Online and kind of followed, like let people, fly by it and check it out. and the giant Borg ship is there.
That could be really interesting, actually, like a little in-universe joke in a sense. Yeah, that could be kind of nice. Yeah. I guess.
Who knows? Maybe it'll do something in accordance with the show. Like, maybe it'll start activating or something, and people have to go and investigate it. Who knows?
Some sort of little because like we could just make the joke of that portal is like crossing space and time. So that's why the alternate timeline of Star Trek Online, which it technically is, it could exist in or something like that. Which would be really nice.
Ooh.
That could be really cool.
I like that a lot. That's
because
very
cool. The Borg element of like Picard is not borrowed from Star Trek Online, but it's sort of similar where like they are almost a Borg collective instead of cooperative and things like that. It's a Borg cooperative instead of collective, sorry, which is another sort of cool idea. So Jurati's collective is a bit like the Borg cooperative, which is really cool, which is also something from Star Trek Online, which is really nice to see. So yeah.
I would like that too.
But no. Well, gentlemen, I think we've reached most of our talking points today, which is really cool. We've discussed, obviously, episode 7 of Strange New Worlds, and we've talked a bit about episode 8 and what's coming up in the Star Trek universe. It's been a pleasure. Any last points from you guys?
I just want to say that one more thing that Terry Matalas said that got me really excited is that Beverly has a big focus in season 3. Ooh. So Dr. Crusher will have a big focus.
Yeah, he didn't say that.
And he said something about making LeVar Burton so emotional that it made him cry to see his reaction of where LeVar Burton, where Geordi is in Terry Matalas's mind. So that's very, very cool.
I can't wait to see that. I think all these characters, like, for me, like I always say, one of the great things for Picard season 1 and a touching moment was when Picard meets Deanna and Will again, particularly when Deanna senses what's wrong with him. I always found that quite like a heart-wrenching moment because it's where he like grabs it, it's okay. Like if we're going to get more moments like that again with touching these characters, I think it's been really nice to see, to be fair.
I agree.
Tex, any final words for yourself?
Yeah, just this was a lot of fun with Strange New Worlds this week. I am sad we only have 3 more outings on the 1701 with Pike and Una and Spock, but there, like we were just talking about, there is so much Star Trek coming out within the next year that I cannot complain. I am a very, very happy Trekker right now with everything on the horizon and everything we're getting currently. It's been great.
For sure, likewise. It's just a great time to be a Star Trek fan. I think we can all agree and say that right now. We've got events around the world, apart from if you're in London, and there's plenty of stuff happening. So to get my last dig in there, there's plenty of stuff happening right now for Star Trek fans. It's fantastic. Like even if Strange New Worlds ending, in 3 episodes, we've got season 2 on the way, and I wouldn't be surprised if we hear an announcement of season 3 sometime next year. If I'm going to be honest, that would be quite cool. I think due to the success of the show, I wouldn't be surprised. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
If not, there'll be petitions starting and riots. Paramount, you hear me now.
We're already starting petitions and riots because Trek Central needs to get invited to the premiere. So
no, we're not. No, we're not. Is that a cruise miss? No. Jack's going to get torpedoed by the Enterprise next week. So that's why Starfleet Boy or Tex will be hosting next week, because Paramount Snipers have taken me out.
Oh,
it's all over, yeah. Congratulations, Starfleet Boy, the acting captain.
You want to say it ain't so?
Lower deckers are taking over, oh no. Alright everyone, thank you very much for watching Trek Central Live this week here on YouTube. You can of course check out my lovely co-hosts Starfleet Boy and Tex Trek at their respective channels. Tex has done me the grand favour of putting the links to both his channel and Starfleet Boy's channel in the video chat right now, and I will update the video description to make sure those are included. But of course you can check us out all here on Trek Central and head over to our website where you can find dedicated links to both Tex and Starfleet Boy, as that will be a pleasure. In the meantime, I've been Captain Jack. One of my many friends will be back next week to host Trek Central Live for episode 8 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Either myself, Dom, Starfleet Boy, Tex Trek, or maybe somebody random will bring in. I don't know. Either way, join us back here at 9 p.m. BST, and we'll see you very soon. Once again, a very many thank you to everyone who's donated this week, including Veritas for your $20 donation, and of course, all of you who tuned in. We'll see you very soon. Guys, would you like to say live long and prosper with me? And goodbye.
Live long and prosper.